Chapter 59. Scars. Eleanor rode home slowly on her bicycle. She was later than usual. She and Christina had wrapped up the day's work alone and hurriedly, wanting to give the Hills their alone time with their son. She felt sorry for Christina, who had to share the house with them in what was bound to be a loaded atmosphere. Danny was home. She put her bicycle on the porch and he heard her and came out. He was in civvies, pulled her into a hug. "Hello, darling. I was just on my way to see if I should come pick you up. I gave your girls water and forgot about time a little bit. The brown one was trying to play with the others, walking around on her back legs and headbutting them. It was incredibly cute." "That's Lizzie. She's the youngest, and hello, sweetheart. What does the doctor say?"
"Well, I think it's added to my damage. Tried to pull my shoulder off and I might have a new joint."
"But are you all right?"
"I am, darling. They actually had to x-ray me because the quack thought I still had shrapnel in there. I don't, but what I do have are really messed up muscles and an old fracture in my neck."
"A fracture?"
He twisted his mouth wryly. "It seems to be a bit older than everything else."
"Oh, Danny."
"So, I am officially on 6 months at training command with limited flying time, a prescription for some tablets for pain and inflammation, and my loving wife must do her duty for her country and regularly rub aches and pains. I have that in writing if you want to see it."
She laughed. "That's very funny. I'll do it for my country, love. Were there any other instructions on what I should do for my country?"
He hugged her tightly, grinned. "Nothing specific, but I do have some ideas."
She lay awake in the dark after he had fallen asleep. Things that had only been words were becoming too real for her. The grief in Linda's letters, those white scars on his ribs and chest like the skin had been smeared off. Underneath she had felt the lumps on his ribs. Those had been broken. Her heart shook when she thought of it, and yet he was matter-of-fact about it all. Now an old fracture in his neck. How hard did he really have to fight to stay alive? How quiet he had stayed about the pain in his body. How many things were there that he just didn't see fit to make mention of because he could handle it quietly on his own. She got up, made some tea. She sat down and wrote her feelings away to Linda. These were things that she couldn't speak of to her own mother. There were too many gaps that would have to be filled in. She would tell her one day when they saw each other again. If they saw each other again. I wonder how he really feels about being grounded. I feel like he just takes all these blows and rolls with them. The only points I've really seen him show what must be going on deep inside was when he read your letter and saw the pictures you sent. I am sick to my soul discovering how awful it really was. Before, it used to be words and he said them all so matter-of-fact. It felt as if it was a story I read. The evidence under my fingers is tangible. I would go back in time and murder his father in cold blood if I could. Sometimes I also wonder how deep that particular scar goes, because he actually did kill his father, if accidentally. I'm learning that there are depths to this man I married that I haven't touched yet, and I would. I wish for him to be whole and free from any leftover pain. I want to see him grow laughter lines and no more shadows in his eyes when grief sneaks up on him. Yet, I know I might never erase all of it, and somehow I love him all the more for it. He is sunshine, and it's almost all of it built on shadows. I don't know how he is that strong, how he managed to build kindness, gentleness, and that perpetual smile upon the life he has had. I don't understand, but I love. I love with my whole being, the sunlight and the shadows, all of it, all of him. She sighed, sealed the envelope, went back to bed. He woke up, turned to her. Are you all right, Elle? I'm restless. My head is too busy. Aggie and Pete's son came home today. She told him about Hank, the way the fragile couple had to hold their big son upright, and then she cried for all that had been lost and all that would yet be, for the war was still the backdrop against which they all dared to hope and dream. It was not done yet. Many more broken sons and fathers would be sent home, and they were the lucky ones. Many would never come home to wives and parents and sweethearts and children. She sobbed against him for that, and for the 16-year-old boy from Rome with his broken heart and broken body. He held her, stroking her hair till she finally fell asleep, and it was he who was still awake when the dawn came, and he had to put on his uniform and report to his new station at training command.